Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
We are a nation in decline.
Experts are preparing for what is known as Disease X, or the next pandemic.
What we are seeing is a revolution against the system.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Vince. I am here live with you tonight. It is August 1st, 2024, and we're just going to talk about the news and events of the day. We've got some financial things to talk about, Bitcoin, the stock market. We've got World War III on the horizon. It is just horrific to watch unfold. It's happening now. Things have really escalated in the last 24 hours, and it's expected to ramp up over the next 24 to 48 hours. And then who knows into the future what this turns into. We'll also talk about U.S. politics, world news, etc., Elon Musk, all the stuff. If anything breaks during the live stream, I'll talk about that as well. I'll try to keep my eye on this. Hey, Lisa, good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you all. Make sure you're following me on X and on YouTube and Rumble, and turn on your notifications so you know when I'm having these live streams. Friday or Saturday, I'll be doing a nice kind of relaxed, fun stream. And on X, I'll be hosting and joining X Spaces, anything from just hanging out to breaking news and some interesting spaces, to say the least. So if you like that stuff, follow me on X and I'll join you. You can join me and we'll all stay on top of this stuff. So without further ado, let's get into the news for today. Why don't we? As we do, please take the time, share this, repost it on X, share the YouTube link, etc., text it, DM it, share it, whatever. I appreciate all of it. We're going to talk about finance first. It's not looking good, guys. The stocks have tumbled a lot today. Huge. The latest from Reuters is this headline here. Stocks stumble on growth fears with U.S. jobs data eyed. It says here, quote, Asian shares and U.S. Treasury yields slid, while the Swiss franc and Japanese yen rose on safety bids on Friday after weaker than expected U.S. factory data sparks fears of a worsening economic outlook. This is Singapore, Reuters. It says here, quote, a measure of U.S. manufacturing activity dropped to an eight-month low in July amid a slump in new orders. So we've got data coming out. We've got world wars. We've got, well, it's getting close to a world war at least. A lot of things. We've got fear back in the sentiment for the stock market. And we're seeing this all come to the market going down. A lot of red across the board. With that, oil is set to fall for the fourth week as demand concerns weigh on the sentiment. I don't know what a broader war would look like for this, but I will say it's not irrelevant when it comes to wars. A lot of people have talked about oil and wars. I was reading some analyses on this online, and so we'll be talking about that more in the future for sure. I think Blue Canaries did a post on it. Hello. Thank you for joining. All right, onward. Stock market sell-off. Yeah, disappointing economic data. Also, people are saying we're going to have a pre-election recession. This is the fear in the stock market. This is where the fear is coming from. They think it's going to get worse coming up to this election, which is not good for whoever the nominee is on the Democrat side, presumptively Kamala Harris, but that's to be determined at the end of this month. at the convention, which is being held in Chicago. So we'll see how that all goes. But the Gateway Pundit wrote this. They talked about the Dow dropping 1.21% today. That's huge for the Dow, 1.21%. The S&P 500 shed 1.37%, and the NASDAQ slipped 2.3%. Wow. They wrote, quote, some fresh data stoked fears over a possible recession and the notion that the Federal Reserve could be too late to start cutting interest rates. Initial jobless claims rose the most since August 2023. The ISM Manufacturing Index, a barometer of factory activity in the U.S., came in at 46.8%, worse than expected, and a signal of economic contraction. After these releases, the 10-year Treasury yield dropped below 4% for the first time since February. These weak data releases come a day after central bank policymakers chose to keep rates at the highest levels in 2 decades, when Fed Chair Jerome Powell gave investors some hope by signaling a September rate cut is on the table. So they're talking about potential rate cuts at the end of this year. We'll see that, and that's going to affect everything. So we'll see what happens, guys. But we're in the hole, and regardless of, there's like no road ahead where this is easy or just like uphill, or it's not going to be good right away. I think things are going to get worse before they get better. Kind of no matter what action's taken, it's just, I guess, varying degrees of how bad things will be. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think on this. We talked a little bit about job openings. I'm going to move on and talk about Bitcoin a little bit. Trump went to the Bitcoin. He had a speech at the Bitcoin event, and he talked about Bitcoin. Tucker just put out a video about Bitcoin as well, which is interesting because I've talked about Bitcoin. It's been a few weeks, but MJ Truth Ultra covered this. Hey, Sparky. Good to see you all, Sparky. Good morning, Vietnam. MJ Truth Ultra on X wrote a post about this, which was really interesting, in response to a video that Tucker put out. This is what MJ Truth Ultra wrote. Did Tucker just find out who the creator of Bitcoin was? This is interesting because nobody knows who the creator of Bitcoin is, and I did not know this information. I have said, though, that it's kind of suspicious that we don't know who owns the most of Bitcoins. It's touted as a decentralized cryptocurrency, but we don't know who holds the most of it. Isn't that weird? I talked about the US and Europe and other countries taking in Bitcoin as reliable and good, and allowing ETFs to be created, allowing people to take out leveraged positions based on Bitcoin, and it actually entering the stock markets of the world, and a lot of investments into Bitcoin as well. Elon Musk's companies invest in Bitcoin. Billionaires and millionaires are investing in Bitcoin, yet it's just weird. We don't know who owns it. Usually when you have something traded on the stock market, you know everything about it, right? You know all of the stakeholders, you know the plan, and you have a say in how it goes. Bitcoin's a little different in that regard, so it's kind of a red flag and weird to me. With that said, cryptocurrencies, I'm not anti-cryptocurrency or anything. I'm just kind of looking at this and thinking, MJ Truth Ultra wrote, quote, at the Bitcoin conference, Tucker suggested the CIA created Bitcoin. He said, quote, until you can tell me who Satoshi Nakamoto was, I have questions. Satoshi Nakamoto is the alleged holder of most Bitcoins and creator of Bitcoin. MJ Truth Ultra writes, Satoshi has hundreds of billions of dollars in Bitcoin, which hasn't been cashed out. He makes a point. His guest believes that he knows who Satoshi is, and that is a man named Paul LaRue. LaRue is a former programmer, former criminal cartel boss, and informant to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA. He writes, quote, in Manila, he controlled much of the city and paid off all the authorities, etc. He generated so much cash, he didn't know what to do with it or where to store it. So it's assumed he was building Bitcoin to store all the cash. His nickname was S bracket, capital L, close bracket, Atoshi. S.L. Atoshi. Satoshi. Around the same time Satoshi disappeared, LaRue went to prison and is being now held in the United States. LaRue was arrested on September 26, 2012 for conspiracy to import narcotics into the United States and agreed to cooperate with authorities in exchange for a lesser sentence and immunity to any crimes he might admit to later. LaRue created, quote, encryption for the masses, unquote, EM4, which Snowden is speculated to use as part of his hack. Very interesting life he had, according to Wikipedia. And it's interesting that Tucker's talking about this and stuff. I wonder, it's just speculation at this point. It's just an interesting little thing floating around on the internet, to say the least. Onward, more Bitcoin stuff. Billions of dollars were seized in Bitcoin by the U.S. Treasury's office. This is Brianna Sogdahl on X at BREEAUNA 9. She says billions of dollars were seized in Bitcoin by the U.S. Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control. A massive debate now exists within our government over what should happen next. Here's that post. Excuse me, pardon me. Let me share this with you guys as I go through it. This is pretty interesting as far as the Bitcoin stuff goes. This is Brianna Sogdahl. You can see there at Brianna, sorry. I apologize. At BREEAUNA 9. So follow her if you want stuff like this. She writes, quote, U.S. Senator Lummis has introduced an important bill to create a Bitcoin strategic reserve, the best possible solution, according to those close to the situation. Shortly after RFK Jr. and Donald Trump attended the Bitcoin 24 conference, pledging support for a strategic reserve, Biden's government transferred 29,800 Bitcoin, valued at roughly $2 billion, to an unmarked wallet address. Time is of the utmost importance. She urges people, quote, you can send an email urging your lawmakers to sponsor this legislation through Satoshi Act Fund below. And there's a bill, interesting bill here in the Senate of the United States. M. Lummis introduced the following bill to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve and other programs to ensure the transparent management of Bitcoin holdings of the federal government to offset costs utilizing certain resources of the Federal Reserve System and for other purposes. An interesting bill to read and understand, and pretty interesting. I think Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is going to play a major role in the future. It already is. It's gone from nothing to a really big something very quickly, relatively speaking. And I think it still has a lot of potential, but I think there are some concerns. There definitely are some concerns still. That's for sure. All right, just checking the other chats here. Thank you for joining, everybody. Please repost this if you're on X, etc. I appreciate that. And if you're tuning in on YouTube, I appreciate you. Leave me a thumbs up and comment when you can, and I will read those and get back to you for sure. Thank you all. Don Lemon is suing Elon Musk. This was just breaking this evening. Pretty interesting. We know that Don Lemon was going to go on X, and then Elon Musk basically told him to kick rocks, and they had a little thing going on earlier this year where they were arguing with each other. But now we have this from FX Hedge. Quote, Don Lemon sues Elon Musk and X for $35 million, claiming fraud, according to CBS News. Don Lemon, a former CNN anchor, is suing Elon Musk and his social media network X for $35 million, alleging fraud and breach of contract after the billionaire abruptly scrapped a content partnership between them in March. So we'll follow this and see what happens. People are saying Don Lemon looks different. These Hollywood characters, they always just start looking different. I don't know how to explain it, guys. I have no idea. That's funny that's the top comment. Thank you, RM, for reposting. I hope you're having a wonderful day. All right, onward. It is so hot in here, but it's okay. We're gonna keep going. It's cooling down. It was a staggering 70-something degrees today. Here we go. We talked about this. The economy is going to affect this upcoming election for sure. For sure. And things are not looking good at all. Yeah, I think that's a driving factor behind a lot of people's votes, let's be honest. But let's move on and get out of finance. We've got a lot of other news to talk about, but I think that this has been a big week in finance, so it's important to look at. Plus, the Bitcoin stuff is just fascinating, really fascinating. Anyway, this is crazy. I can't believe this is happening. The U.S. says plea deal reached with 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. This broke today. The U.S. says plea deal reached with 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Can you believe this? Have you guys seen this? This is just crazy. Hey, Jonathan, thank you for joining. Wow. Insider Paper wrote, quote, U.S. prosecutors have reached a deal with 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the Pentagon said Wednesday, reportedly involving a guilty plea in exchange for avoiding a death penalty trial. Can you believe this, guys? They continued and said, quote, the agreements with Mohammed and two other accused moves their long-running cases toward resolution. These have been bogged down in pretrial maneuverings for years, while the defendants remained held at the Guantanamo Bay military base in Cuba. A Pentagon statement said no details of the deal would be immediately made public at this time. But the New York Times reported that Mohammed, Walid bin Atash, and Mustafa al-Hawsawi have agreed to plead guilty to conspiracy in exchange for a life sentence instead of a trial after they could get the death penalty. Such a proposal was detailed by prosecutors in a letter last year, but divided the families of the nearly 3,000 people killed in the September 11th, 2001 attacks, with some still wanting the defendants to face the ultimate penalty. This is just wild that this is happening. It says here from Insider Paper that Mohammed was regarded as one of al-Qaeda chief Osama bin Laden's most trusted and intelligent lieutenants before his March 2003 capture in Pakistan. He then spent 3 years in secret CIA prisons before arriving in Guantanamo in 2006. Oh my gosh. He's accused of other very heinous crimes involving journalists, and that is just horrible. This is just crazy that this happened. This week has been heavy, and it's not slowing down, guys. My goodness. All right. Thank you for the donation, Rumi. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, onward. Let's talk about more. Speaker Mike Johnson had a comment on this I wanted to share with you guys real quick. And, love him or hate him, this is just the news. This is what he said. Speaker Mike Johnson went to X and he said this, quote, the Biden-Harris administration has done the unthinkable. They've agreed to a plea deal with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the mastermind of the September 11th attacks, and two of his accomplices. 23 years ago, America watched in horror as thousands of innocent Americans died. America mourned for weeks afterwards as the first responders sifted through the ashes at Ground Zero. At the Pentagon and at the crash site in Shanksville, that's where they were sifting. It says here, for more than 2 decades, the families of those murdered by those terrorists have waited for justice. This plea deal is a slap in the face to those families. They deserve better from the Biden-Harris administration. And he's responding to this New York Post article about exactly what we just talked about. This is crazy that there's even a negotiation there. It really is, to me. Yeah, I agree with Speaker Mike Johnson that this does seem like a slap in the face to those families. It's pretty absurd. Pretty absurd if you think about it. Thank you, Miss Doubtvisor, for reposting or liking. I appreciate that. All right, onward. We got more. we've got more. All right, we've got, the FBI investigation is still ongoing regarding the assassination attempt on Donald Trump at the July 13th rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. You can actually find the latest updates on the FBI's .gov website, fbi.gov/news/press releases/Butler-investigation-updates. So we don't have, well, I guess a couple days ago is the latest thing we have, and it was the FBI statement on incident in Butler, Pennsylvania. It says here, quote, the FBI has assumed the role of the lead federal law enforcement agency in the investigation. It says here, quote, remarks by FBI Deputy Director Paul Abate at a joint hearing of the Senate Judiciary, Homeland Security, and Government Affairs Committee. That is what we got a few days ago, or I guess that was 2 days ago. And it was really nothing. I'm not going to say it was zero, but I think it was largely unproductive. Not much came of it. I feel like it's really getting pushed where we should be really digging. It's getting pushed out further and further. Thank you, Rowdy. Why are you saying why do you say that, Rowdy? All right, onward. Well, this is interesting. We got a new whistleblower information here that I wanted to show you guys regarding the assassination attempt. Breaking, Acting Secret Service Director Rowe personally cut agents from the threat assessment team in advance of the July 13th Butler Trump rally, according to a whistleblower. Thank you to Julia for sharing this at Jules31415 on X. This is pretty interesting stuff. Here is the letter from today. Dear Acting Director Rowe, since your testimony before the Senate of July 30th, new and disturbing information has come to light about Secret Service planning for the Butler, Pennsylvania Trump campaign event and your own involvement in this notification. They list a few things. Please provide the following information to me by no later than August 8th, 2024. Number one, all responsive records during your time as Deputy Director in which policy and personal changes were made to CSD, the Secret Service Division, that specifically performs advanced site threat assessments. Number two, the nature of your personal involvement in revising, updating, or otherwise changing Secret Service policies and personnel related to CSD. Number three, the number of Secret Service agents who have raised concerns about security practices within the Secret Service and are currently facing disciplinary action, as well as the nature of the concerns and the type of disciplinary action. And number four, the breakdown of Secret Service personnel at the July 13th rally by division or unit. I await your response. Sincerely, Josh Hawley, U.S. Senator. So hopefully we get answers to this information, and I think I already know the answer. Number three, as far as disciplinary actions go, we learned that during the last hearing that nobody's been fired over this, and that was like the big bombshell of the thing. Oh my gosh, nobody's being held accountable, nobody's been fired. But hopefully this brings more information out, but I think still we have a ways to go before, if we ever get to the bottom of it. It's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know. All right. Let me see here. Thanks again, Rumi, and thank you for tuning in, Rowdy. All right, onward. Let's jump over to talk about Trump and Vance and more stuff in that lane of things. To this day, the Secret Service has not talked to local law enforcement about the assassination attempt. Can you believe this? Okay, real quick, and then we're going to go to what I said, Trump and Vance. But this is insane. This is a clip from Fox News. Thank you for MJ Truth Ultra for clipping this, but check this out.
Secret Service has never talked to any of our people either before the rally that day or to this moment has ever talked to us in regards to what our actions were that day. Secret Service has not talked to us at all about the incident.
You've not talked directly to the Secret Service, then Director Cheadle, Acting Director Ronald Rowe. They've not reached out to you, neither one of them.
None of them.
They're doing
Pretty
an
remarkable.
investigation.
Yeah, isn't that kind of weird that nobody's communicating in this? This is just pretty astonishing, I'll say. Biden made a statement today. I'm going to pull up the written statement. More stuff. Statement by President Joe Biden on securing the release of Americans detained in Russia. This was another big thing from today. This is what Joe Biden put out. This official statement, quote, "Today, 3 American citizens and 1 American green card holder who were unjustly imprisoned in Russia are finally coming home. Paul Whelan, Evan Gershkovich, Alsu Kurmasheva, and Vladimir Kara-Murza. The deal that secured their freedom was a feat of diplomacy. All told, we've negotiated the release of 16 people from Russia, including 5 Germans and 7 Russian citizens who were political prisoners in their own country. Some of these women and men have been unjustly held for years. All have endured unimaginable suffering and uncertainty. Today, their agony is over. I am grateful to our allies who stood with us throughout tough, complex negotiations to achieve this outcome, including Germany, Poland, Slovenia, Norway, and Turkey. This is a powerful example of why it's vital to have friends in this world whom you can trust and depend on. Our alliances make America safer. And let me be clear, I will not stop working until every American wrongfully detained or held hostage around the world is reunited with their family. My administration has now brought home over 70 such Americans, many of whom were in captivity since before I took office. Still, too many families are suffering and separated from their loved ones, and I have no higher priority as president than bringing those Americans home." That was from Joe Biden. My dad asks a good question. What did it cost us? We don't know. And that's a good question. Let's see. Trump had the same question. Let's go to Trump's truth and see and watch. Yeah, we don't know. That's crazy. This is Trump from earlier, but Trump did have a statement on this, and I'll bring that up in a second. But Trump said the word is that they refuse to have Sleepy Joe Biden at the Democratic National Convention. Trump wrote that they hate him and he hates them, which is interesting. The rumors that are kind of in the background with people in politics and journalists and in DC, like there's a lot of rumors. You even had AOC coming out and saying how much she doesn't like Kamala Harris. So, she hasn't been nominated yet. It's going to be interesting to see. There's some speculation by some people. Game Tech brought this up that AOC and others may turn against Kamala in the future. Maybe after she's nominated, or if she is, I don't know. Anyway, the prisoner swap. Donald Trump went to Truth today, this morning, and this is what he wrote. Quote, "So when are they going to release the details of the prisoner swap with Russia? How many people do we get versus them? Are we also paying them cash? Are they giving us cash? Please withdraw that question because I'm sure the answer is no. Are we releasing murderers, killers, or thugs? Just curious because we never make good deals at anything, but especially hostage swaps. Our quote-unquote negotiators are always an embarrassment to us. I got back many hostages and gave the opposing country nothing. And never any cash. To do so is bad precedent for the future. That's the way it should be, or the situation will get worse and worse. They are extorting the United States of America. They're calling the trade complex That's so nobody can figure out how bad it is. And that's Trump's opinion on the thing and his questions. Will we ever know? I'm sure. I hope. I don't know. Who knows? Who really knows? Let me see if there's anything new from Trump lately. Not really. He's doing a lot of endorsements. Trump has endorsed Andy Ogles, U.S. Representative Andy Ogles, U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn, U.S. Representative David Kustoff. These are all winners. Mark Green, he's putting all of his endorsed winners up. Just that's all Trump's been posting lately. It's pretty funny here. The last hour. Diana Harshbarger. Look at these. So Trump is just bragging. Everyone he endorses does pretty good. So other than that, Trump hasn't said anything new in the last couple hours. But here we go. Trump on Biden. He's been trolling lately. So he's kind of trolling Kamala here, which a lot of people have been. Trump.
I can't believe I'm doing it. You know, the weird thing. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I was talking about Biden. I didn't even know her name. Nobody did. Kamala. Hello. Beautiful. I didn't even know her name. Kamala. I heard.
Yeah, just trolling. It's called trolling. We do a little trolling, Trump says. Wow. J.D. Vance went to the southern border and spoke. One of the things that he had to say was this. He talked about fentanyl and the open border. J.D. Vance said, quote, "The unfortunate truth is due to the poison Kamala Harris has allowed into this country. Many prayers will go unanswered. Many parents won't wake up because fentanyl takes lives without warning. Consequently, many children have been deprived of second chances with their moms and dads. There are countless parents who will never see their children walk down the aisle because of what Kamala Harris has unleashed at our border. The human toll is something we cannot forget." And that was J.D. Vance. The War Room reported on this. Very interesting. I retweeted this as well on X. So, I mean, he's at the border. Kamala's not there. Of course, everyone on the internet saying Kamala was never in charge of the border. There's contrary evidence that she was. I mean, we all talked about it when it was happening. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But the narrative's changing. I talked to, or Game Tech talked to all of us about this. If you're on X, you might have heard the conversation. But Game was talking about the future and the narrative and how the media is going to move forward. Media strategy. And we see this transition from certain Trump rhetoric changing to, and we saw this happen, the weird narrative. Trump is weird. J.D. Vance is weird. Oh my gosh, they're so weird. Game Tech Politics at GTP_podcast on X told us that, this is yesterday, he said that this is because Trump uses that language and was going to kind of go on this weird, Trump was going to go use this weird word, the word weird, with Kamala and the weird stuff that he believes Kamala is associated with, right? And that they got ahead of him on it. And so they've taken that weird aspect and they're using it first. It's an interesting thing that Game put out there. But he also told us that they are, actually, let me pull this. I wrote some stuff down. I don't remember off the top of my head. Forgive me. But talked about the weird thing. So he said that the media is getting away from Trump as an authoritarian. Trump is a threat to democracy. You might still see some of it, but they're moving towards Trump and Vance are weird. We already saw that. They are having the Harris campaign they're going to be focusing on the younger demographics. We saw that with her latest rally in Georgia, which was a concert/rally. I covered that a little bit. I did my best. I was a little bit late, but that's okay. So expect more concert rallies, I would say. They want to get more younger votes. Okay. He said that they do not want to talk about Joe Biden. We haven't heard a lot about him at all. We did hear from him today, this morning, with the hostage stuff. He didn't have much to say. I think he did answer one question, actually, and he was made fun of because some of the hostages released weren't hostages under Trump, and Biden's argument was, why didn't Trump do it? So it doesn't work perfectly. So Game Tech also told us that they're going to try to have Kamala have these big rallies, try to get the biggest crowds they can. And they're going to do that by having guest speakers and really hyping them up. And there's allegations, unconfirmed. I have no way to confirm it, but there were allegations by people on the internet. So take it at face value. It's just allegations that people were being paid to go to the concert/rally for Kamala in Georgia, which is why after the music and Kamala started speaking, you saw people filing out and leaving. Those are just allegations. I don't know. I did see the video of people walking out during Kamala's speech, so maybe it's true. I don't know. They're going to start trying to create a persona for Kamala, or make her look like a strong leader, a strong vision, a great vision for peace and a peacetime, a negotiator president, a peacetime president, all these things. And of course, this is important as things heat up in the Middle East, which we're going to talk about here next. So I don't know if she's going to be able to negotiate peace or anything. Actually, I need to check her schedule to see if she has any meeting with world leaders. Are they actually going to negotiate some kind of peace deal? Also, remember, it's interesting we saw this hostage deal being made by Biden, or the Biden administration now. This comes just not too long after Donald Trump said that he wants the release of hostages before he's in office. And then we're starting to see this narrative happen. So I wonder if there's any influence from Trump on that, or if it's just one coincidence. Is it a coincidence? Yeah. I don't know, guys. I don't think so, but what do I know? Onward. Let's see. President Trump. So this is the question that the reporter asked Biden. Quote, President Trump has said repeatedly that he could have gotten the hostages out without giving anything in exchange. What do you say to that? Biden responded, why didn't he do it when he was president? And like I said, not all of them were hostages when Trump was president. So it's kind of a weird thing. Hi, Bat. How you doing? Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. Good to see y'all. All right, let's talk about war. Well, yeah, we'll talk about war. I'm going to save this other story for tomorrow or another day. War. On July 30th, we had this from the U.S. Central Command. They told us, quote, in the past 24 hours, U.S. Central Command, U.S. CENTCOM, forces successfully destroyed 3 Iranian-backed Houthi uncrewed surface vessels, USVs, in the Red Sea. So these are uncrewed, so there's no people. No people on these. They said, quote, it was determined these weapons presented an imminent threat to the U.S., coalition forces, and merchant vessels in the region. These actions were taken to protect freedom of navigation and make international waters safer and more secure. So that was on July 30th. We had the Hamas chief assassination. This was huge. RT.com wrote a little article on this, and they laid out the kind of the key points out pretty good in this article. Hamas chief assassinated. What happens next? They write, and they start by saying, quote, the last few days of July were exceptionally hot in the Middle East, and not because of the weather, but due to the escalating regional conflict that grows more intense day by day. So in this article, they talk about Netanyahu's visit to the United States, which was cut short, and he hurried back, and there's speculation that he basically got the nod to act against Hezbollah from the United States. We don't know if that's true. This is just speculation. This is RT.com. Okay. So any news I'm talking about, it's going to be, from all over the place. So I'm just telling you what they're saying here. I don't know. I'm not a war strategist or an expert. I'm just telling you the facts here. On July 27th, a rocket hit Majdal Shams, killing 12 children, with Israel blaming Hezbollah and Iran. There was the Beirut strike on July 30th. Israel targeted Hezbollah leader Fouad Shukr in Beirut. And the Haniyeh assassination on July 31st. Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was killed in Tehran, complicating regional tensions and negotiations. Iran and other nations have condemned the assassination, and the region is becoming very unstable. Batboy says Hezbollah is Iran. Thank you, Bat. So it's really heating up, guys. It's quite alarming, to be honest. And we did see the beginning of missiles being launched. Let me see. We had Iran issuing flight restrictions and announcing their military activity. It's escalating quickly, and there's a lot of rumors and things floating around. Iran has issued multiple notices to airmen. No TAMs. This is Mario Knopfel. He says from 0230 to 0830 UTC, all VFR light aircraft and unmanned flights are suspended within the Tehran control zone, except for emergency operations for those with special authorization. Mario Knopfel writes, quote, military activity is scheduled from 0230 to 0630 UTC within a 2-kilometer radius, blah, blah, blah. And on it also, I want to see, so we had missiles going off. I think this is, I don't know what, but maybe it's just kind of like the beginning, because they said yesterday that within the next 72 hours, they'd be responding to the previous escalations that we just talked about and attacking Israel. So this began, I think it's just kind of testing the Iron Dome. We saw United Airlines and Delta canceling flights to Israel starting today. I believe that was starting today. Let me just double check. But yeah, this is, everyone's kind of preparing for an escalation here. Yeah, so today, it was Insider Paper said that by today, United Airlines and Delta will be canceling flights to Israel. Israeli ministers evacuated to underground bunkers and were handed emergency satellite phones earlier today. This was reported by an account on X. Take it with a grain of salt. It's the U.S. Civil Defense News. So this is not confirmed. This is not official. This is a retired military officer, former political advisor, a NATO 3-star general, former congressional staffer, wounded warrior, and Iraq veteran from Austin, Texas, who said that. He also said for the first time, U.S. B-52H nuclear bombers have been deployed to Romania in preparation for war with Russia. This was posted on the NATO Twitter page. Whoa. Where's the bunker story here? Here it is. Israeli ministers evacuated underground bunkers. Allegedly. I have not confirmed that, but there's a lot of things out there where I wouldn't be surprised if that was actually the case. We also had Russia come out yesterday. They announced that they had launched the third stage of drills on the use of tactical nuclear weapons, which included forces involved in the conflict in Ukraine. The Defense Insider paper wrote, quote, "The Defense Ministry said the exercises were taking place in the central and southern military districts, which includes several North Caucasus republics and annexed Crimea, as well as 4 regions of southern and eastern Ukraine that Russia claims to have annexed despite not fully controlling." President Vladimir Putin in early May ordered the staging of those exercises partly, according to the Kremlin, in response to perceived threats from Western nations. The first stage of drills began in May. Minsk in May also announced synchronized military drills alongside Moscow to verify its tactical nuclear weapons launchers. Tactical nuclear weapons. These are small nuclear arms that Russia has. A scary thing to talk about. Which people are throwing that word around. And a senior Pentagon official informed the Washington Post that the United States has deployed at least 12 warships to the Middle East. So, open source intel wrote, a senior Pentagon official informed the Washington Post that the U.S. has deployed at least 12 warships in the Middle East, including the aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt, amphibious combat teams, and more than 4,000 Marines and sailors. Yeah, this is not good. Definitely signs of escalation. A lot of military movements right now, as we speak. U.S. warship Armada races at top speed toward the coast of Lebanon in preparation for the IDF offensive attack planned against Hezbollah. U.S. will use anti-aircraft and anti-missile systems to shoot down rockets launched against Israel. So, this is kind of all shaping up to probably unfold in the next 24 to 48 hours if the timeline suggested is accurate by all the parties involved. So by Saturday, Sunday, I think we're going to see a lot happening over there, unfortunately. I don't think there's any way to really diffuse this at this point. I think that it's kind of just, I think people are committed to whatever happens next, and we can only hope it doesn't keep escalating. But so far it has. So far it's just been worse and worse and worse. Oh my goodness. It's going to be hard to frame Kamala as the peacetime president and the securing the border president and all this stuff when all this is happening now, I don't know how they're going to do it. Canada is also involved. Insider paper wrote, Canadian warships sails through Taiwan Strait. The article says, quote, Taiwan's defense ministry said Thursday that a Canadian warship sailed a day earlier through the Taiwan Strait, a sensitive waterway separating the democratic island from China. China claims self-ruled Taiwan as part of its territory, of course. The navies of the United States and its Western allies, meanwhile, have increased freedom of navigation crossings through the strait to reinforce its status as an international waterway, angering Beijing. So, China's not happy. This is just not good. Not good. Not good at all. Let me go to these other chats real quick and we'll keep on some of this. Some are saying that Iran's attack is Iran's planning one of the largest scale drone attacks here, is what they're saying. So it's quite concerning, I will say. No cash, only more sleep for POTUS. That was the deal. That's funny, Jonathan. Thank you all for tuning in. Yeah, make sure you subscribe and like and leave a comment, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. We're going to keep this conversation going a little bit longer. But what else do we have? Yeah, so they're saying this could be the largest drone, cruise missile, and ballistic missile attack in Middle East history that Iran is preparing. This is according to the U.S. Civil Defense News. So we'll see. This is just horrible. I don't know what to say, guys. Axios said that the Biden administration is convinced Iran is going to attack Israel in retaliation for the assassination of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran earlier this week and is preparing to counter it. So that is official. Axios is reporting it. The Biden administration is convinced it's happening. Yeah, this is not a drill. This is happening now. Quite literally the beginning of potentially a larger war than we've seen in a long time, or maybe ever. Hopefully not. Hopefully that's not true. Amir Sarfati has said on X, interceptions of northern Israel have started due to an attack from Lebanon. Santino shared this on X with some alleged video from the area of missiles going out to intercept. So small barrages beginning as far as I know. Let me see if there's anything breaking on this. No, I don't think there is. If I'm missing anything, please let me know. But I don't see anything breaking as of yet. But Jonathan Marsh says, Call of Duty writers predicted this. Oh, Jonathan, if you want to tell me more about that, I'd appreciate it. That's interesting. If I remember, I'll look into that. That's really wild. Is this like following the storyline of the video game? Talking about the video games? I'm not too familiar with the storyline. We had the Kremlin come out and say something about the F-16s delivered to Ukraine. The Kremlin says that the F-16s delivered to Ukraine will be shot down today. He says that they'll be shot down and have little impact on the battlefield in response to reports that the first fighter jets have arrived in Ukraine. And there's been pictures going around online and people are like, are these jets? Is this real? And I haven't seen it be confirmed, but it seems like some of the bigger news outlets are starting to pick this up. So maybe the ones flying around are real. I don't know, but Kremlin's promising to act on that, which is just crazy how much war rhetoric we have going on. So we'll keep our eye on that. And onward. This one's a rumor. This is not confirmed. A lot of people are talking about it. I just wanted to mention it. This is Rick Wiles on X. Okay, True News host. Allegedly, JNS.org is his source. An Arab news outlet reported that Iran transferred electromagnetic pulse weapons to Hezbollah. EMPs would disable Israel's technological infrastructure. This coming war will be nasty and ugly. So reports allegedly of Iran providing EMPs to Hezbollah. These are electromagnetic pulse weapons that could disrupt electronics and defensive capabilities, etc. It's alarming if true. We'll have to just wait and see, I suppose. And I hope it's not true and that this doesn't get too crazy. But yeah, this has escalated to an unprecedented level in the last 24 to 48 hours. And then they're just getting started is kind of what everybody's saying. Iran, the US, Israel, Canada. I mean, we have Russia, we have China. It's like shaping up to be the World War III scenario. Unfortunately, we'll see, guys. So sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but here we are. And I can't say I'm entirely surprised. All I can say is hope for the best that this clears up as fast as possible. Jonathan says, oh yeah, read up on Modern Warfare storyline and black ops. Okay, interesting. We have got this Venezuela situation going on too, which I don't know. It's kind of weird to see Elon Musk and everybody, other people, Trump and whoever else, maintaining this kind of laughing and joking attitude amidst all this happening. But Venezuela had an election a few days ago. It's been contested. There's been a lot of accusations back and forth on who is cooing who. Coups. There's coupception going on. Venezuela has a rich history of coups. If you want to look into that, doesn't even go. You don't have to go back that far to find some interesting stuff, real stuff, documented stuff, provable stuff. But anyway, the United States Department of State issues a statement recognizing Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia as the new president-elect of Venezuela and says, quote, overwhelming evidence shows he defeated Nicolas Maduro. Of course, Maduro claims that he won. Kind of have the election graph that goes up, like he's losing and then he's losing, Maduro's losing, and then Maduro's winning at all of a sudden. Kind of that. Interesting. I guess the U.S. reviewed it and determined there's some anomalies. There was widespread protests, riots, and some pretty crazy video coming out of Venezuela, even still today. Stuff that I cannot display here. Violent stuff. And it's interesting. Basically, the U.S. is coming out and saying that they disagree with Maduro having won the election. And Elon Musk has been really going at Maduro. I think I have that here. Elon Musk tweeted yesterday or posted on X, X, posted on X, quote, I'm coming for you, Maduro. I will carry you to Gitmo on a donkey. And Maduro actually called out Elon Musk, saying that he's his arch enemy a few days ago. And Elon Musk told him that he basically equated him to a donkey. And then he said, I'm sorry, that's insulting to donkeys. I'm paraphrasing, but Elon Musk has been really going after Maduro in a really laughing and joking manner after Maduro declared him an arch enemy and that he'd love to fight Elon Musk. Elon Musk said he would fight Maduro. And if Elon Musk said something along the lines of that, if he lost a fight with Maduro, that he would give Maduro a free ticket to Mars. And that if Maduro won, what was it? If Maduro wins, Elon Musk will give him a free ticket to Mars. And if Elon Musk wins, I forget. I have to look it up. It was funny. I'm going to look it up real quick. I don't have it handy. I thought I would remember, but clearly I forgot. Free ride to Mars. Elon Musk announces his terms to fight Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro on national television. He says, quote, if I win, he resigns as dictator of Venezuela. If he wins, I give him a free ride to Mars, which is basically a win-win for Elon Musk, who is massively trolling Maduro in this situation. The U.S. came out and says that Gonzalez actually won the most votes in Venezuela. This is according to Blinken. Zero Hedge reported this today. It took the U.S. 5 days to count Venezuela's votes and make this determination. Somehow we did that in 5 days for Venezuela when it took us 2 months to count U.S. votes. I don't know what's going on there, but it's weird. Gosh. And I hate saying that because that's the language that's being put out there right now. It's weird, but it is. It's also weird, guys. Weird and quite frightening. Make sure you guys turn on your notifications, subscribe, like, comment. I appreciate all of that. If you're not following me where you are active, follow me on YouTube, follow me on X at ReadyF4Any. I'm going to be doing live streams, more content, especially on X. If you want some exclusives and whatnot, check it out there. I'll be hosting spaces there as well where we can have conversations, or you can just hop in and listen. This is anything from hangouts, casual hangouts and discussions, to opinion discussions, to breaking news discussions, or concise topics as well. Some of them will be recorded so you can listen later. Some of them will not be. I want to show you guys this video if you haven't seen it already. It's a really interesting one. I think we may have more on this later this year. I'm going to do some more digging into that. I think I was reading something, or maybe it was just speculation from somebody saying that October is going to be full of surprises. Of course, surprises from every direction, I guarantee you. But somebody said as far as UFOs go, maybe we'd have more on that. If you guys remember Game Tech Politics, who is going to be putting out an article this year or soon within the next month or 2, 3, 4 months. I don't know. He's going to be putting stuff out there as well as hosting spaces as he learns things and gets information. Game Tech is always ahead of the game. He gets information before it's the news. And he's been hosting spaces from time to time as time permits and as he has something important to share. So follow Game Tech. I'm going to show you this clip here. Follow the timeline here. Pay attention. And if you've been following, then you already know. If you didn't know, let me know that you are like aware now, or what you think about this in the comments. It's pretty remarkable. I'm going to finish with this clip. And I thank you all for your donations, your support, and all that stuff. Enjoy this. And I'll be live again soon, so turn on your notifications. If something breaks, I'll go live if I'm available. I'll be doing a fun stream this weekend, Friday or Saturday, as well as any breaking news that I'm available to live stream, etc. I'll be here. So turn on your notifications and come in, join me, and we could watch this stuff live or do recaps like this, or we'll watch stuff like this. Enjoy. Take care. I'll talk to you all soon.
What did you think when it came across your desk?
It scared the living shit out of me. This information, this forced disclosure, the intelligence community combats them by saying this will break down our society if this information comes out.
You've stated that the government is in possession of potentially non-human spacecraft. Based on your experience and extensive conversations with experts, do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Okay. Do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
'24 may be the year of a black swan event.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."